Hi everybody, Jared here with Day Traders FX. I hope you guys are all having a great week. We've had a good start to the week so far. Lots of good movements and really nice setups. We've got some really great things to look at. We'll get right to it in just a moment. Quickly, U.S. markets, you can see they close in just a couple of moments here. Dow up about 150 points, S&P up 22. Oil's recovering just a little bit, but it's still back below 90 and seems to be holding pretty well. And gold, well, we'll have a look at gold. Quickly on the calendar, we don't have anything too exciting the rest of the day. But coming into tomorrow, we have some pretty good announcements coming up there. Lots of Canadian news. We have some pretty important bits of UK news as well. Meeting minutes, claim accounts, all that stuff. So that should give us some decent movement tomorrow. So let's keep an eye on that. Okay, so here's the euro dollar. It's gone crazy, nothing short of just going wild. This is a tough movement. This is something not super awesome and interesting and excellent to get into. We talked about this yesterday and the fact that the euro was sitting on the 200 moving average on the daily chart, 200 moving average on the 1 hour chart, just really hanging in there nicely. And so as it's been sitting there and finding support, it made this crazy rally all night long and ran, 170 pips from the low of the day to the high of the day. Pretty nice movement there. So here's what we're looking at on the euro dollar. This big run right here of the last 2 months, where it's gone from 137 all the way down here to basically a full 1,000 pip run. 137 down to 127 and change. Now it's starting to retrace and recover a little bit here. So a couple of things to look at. It did a nice little 23 to 38% run there, so a very nice little move. And then it's retraced back to that 200 moving average, and here it is above the 38 and heading into that 50 and 61.8 potentially. So I'm looking at the euro dollar. Obviously, this 50% fib is not far away. It's just around 50 pips away from current market price. That's around 132. 30-ish area. But what I would like to do on the euro dollar, this is kind of the play that I see happening right now, is I'd like to get long right around our resistance area, our high of last week that we broke through, which is around 131, 35.40 area. So here's what I would be interested in doing, is getting long as close to this area as possible, but I would go as high as 131.50. If we see 131.50, I'll probably buy the euro dollar with stops below, below this now support at 131.35. So that's basically, all I'm looking for at the moment is just getting long around 131.50 against this support and seeing if we can hold there and making a run into that into that 50% fib, which is around 132.30, 30.40 area there. So that's kind of the play I'm looking for on the euro dollar right now. It was all choppy last week. We do have a missed weekly pivot. Keep in mind of that. So if we start to get back below 131.35, I think we could be making an honest attempt at that missed pivot from last week, weekly pivot point. So that'll be something to definitely keep an eye on. Pound dollar is interesting. Now, if we look back here at the last couple of weeks, we don't have any missed pivots. Everything's kind of hanging in there pretty well, bouncing off the 200 moving average. We're still well below the 200 moving average here on the daily chart. And from this big run that the pound dollar had, big decline over a couple of month period as well, we're just bumping again into that 38% fib. Now, one thing that I'm looking at here is the top of this channel seems to be pretty well supported. So on this pound dollar, I'm interested in still shorting against this 154.11 area. If we can get a little tiny bit closer, we're pretty close at this point, about 35 to 40 pips away from that general area. If we get a little bit closer up to that 154.11, I would like to get short, maybe 153. 90 kind of area, tight stops, keep very tight stops, but I still like shorting against this. If we get a break above this, then we're very easily and very likely headed up to some of these upper fib levels like 15800 general area. So we have some missed targets way back there at 150. I believe it's at 15800. Well, it's back there a little ways, but anyways, but besides our fib level here on the daily chart, which is around 157, 85, 90, I think that could be a realistic target. But at this point, as long as we're below that high of last week, which is also the 38% fib, then I'm still bearish, and I'd like to short with stops just above this 154.11 area. So that's all I'm looking for at this point on the pound dollar. Aussie dollar is kind of an interesting one. This has kind of been a little bit of all over the place. It's moving around. It's trying to make some attempts at either rallying or not. It's kind of on the fence for sure. So what I'm looking at here is I'm seeing if I'm trying to be really patient with this one and kind of just wait it out and see what it does and where it goes. But basically above about 10400, I think this thing is going to give us a short-term run to potentially a longer-term run. But I think we can get a good 30, 40, 50 pips somewhere in there. From 10400 to 104 35 40 50 area, so just kind of a short-term move there. I'm still interested in shorting against this high back here, but again above 10400 I'm bullish to 10450 area, give or take. If we stay below 10400, then I'm bearish, and I think we have a chance once again to just keep tight stops above this area and trade back towards around 10300. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. We grabbed some nice pips on the Euro Yen and Aussie Yen yesterday with some trade ideas from our daily wrap-up session, but there will be some good stuff coming up there. I'll have some Twitter screenshots and so on coming out shortly, and we'll have a look at that. But best of luck, everyone. I'll see you in the chat, and I'll have updates coming out on Twitter shortly. Thanks, guys. Take care.